Okay, folks, so let's get right down to it here on this episode of Expat Knuckleheads, the garden variety. All right? In the Corona lockdown, I've done a lot of growing of vegetables and fruits. Why? Well, because I was locked down in this beautiful garden and had lots of time. And even now, I'm working in home office, so I have a lot of time to work on my garden. So one thing I did was plant a whole bunch of potatoes, that you can see here. And over here is a raised bed that I built. Let's say shout out to Mark from Self Sufficient Me. He inspired me in his YouTube videos. And my whole my raised bed is a cautionary tale, I think. Okay, uh, my whole video is going to be a cautionary tale, and because even though I've been gardening for a long time, I kind of think of myself as a fledgling gardener still, because of all the amount of things I've learned in the past year. I realized that I just didn't have the knowledge. And now I'm demonstrating to you, look how big this zucchini plant is in the middle of this raised bed. Of course, it started out like a little baby elephant, and I sort of, underestimated how big it would get, okay? And so there are two zucchini plants competing with everything else in here. You'll see a lot of tomato plants in here. These are accidents, actually. Look, getting a little tomato on there. I was planting Swiss chard and I was planting beets, and there just happened to be some tomatoes in there. What is this thing growing? It looks like a bay leaf plant, but I didn't plant bay leaf, so maybe it's just a weed. I'm not sure. At any rate, here we have some. Our basil has seen better days because we've eaten a lot of pesto. And I do have another plant that's gotten buried. Wow, look at that. You can see the tomato resting on the basil. I'm probably going to eat both of those together anyway. And over here, you'll see we have some lovely Swiss chard. Yeah, I'm going to take a piece of Swiss chard right now. And I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to eat this piece of Swiss chard in front of you. Okay, look at it. Here it is. It's beautiful. It's crunchy. God, that is so good. There's something about a fresh Swiss chard. Oh, that's my wifey. Hey, wifey. It's morning here in Germany. Okay, so that was the Swiss chard. Maybe I'm going to take a little piece of basil to try it out. Here we go. I'm going to make some pesto today. That's amazing. All right, now I want to show you a lot of these things, like let's say this zucchini plant and this zucchini plant, I grew from a seed. Now, this aubergine or eggplant, this variety is called Turkish eggplant. They're a little bit longer and skinnier than the ones that we Italians know. So, oh, there we go. We have some beautiful eggplants coming in. That's why the plant is hanging so much. Oh, it's also sharp. Don't forget that. You know, it's a bit sharp. Now, let's look over here. See, this zucchini is blocking out everything. And one thing it's blocking out are my beans that are growing here. Now, these beans I got, or this bean, was a gift from Ron Finley, the Gangster Gardener in Los Angeles, California. And I put it in the earth this year, and it's growing. I kind of don't care if the garden is overcrowded in here. Everything seems to be thriving, and it's gorgeous. It's kind of like having a living painting that you're responsible for setting the stage for, and it does its own thing. Well, with a lot of water, love, attention. Okay, we're getting, look at the beautiful eggplant blossoms. Down there, you can see one of the blossoms turning into a fruit, and here you can see the baby fruit. Okay, now over here, you can see a lot of stinging nettles growing right there next to it, but that is sweet potatoes. I saw that in the garden store and went crazy, like, oh wow, because Mark from Self Sufficient Me showed how these sweet potatoes, I'm hoping, are just going to take over the whole garden. Yeah, let's hope. At least that way, in this direction. And in the back over here, I'm taking all my garden clippings and I'm starting for the first time to make my own mulch. Okay? You could see some coffee on there. Oh, look at potatoes growing out of the mulch. 2 potatoes are growing out of the mulch. That's what might happen. And this is like relatively new, and this is old. And basically, all the mulch is organic material from your garden that you ferment. These piles here start to heat up, right? Because of all the activity to break it down, and they start getting hot. In the wintertime, if you look at a pile of mulch, it will steam. Okay, now here is my gorgeous ugly tree. That's what I started calling this tree when we moved in here, because the apples all had horrible spots on them. Here, this apple has a teeny little spot right there. You can see what time of year it is because the apples are still small, but these will get to be a handful. But when I first got the tree, these spots were all over every apple, and I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to eat any of these. And then I was in the garden working, and I said, oh, what the heck, I'm going to try one of these apples. And boom, they turned out to be the best apples I ever had in my life. An explosion of flavor. All right, now these apples over here, these are what we call August apples in Germany. That means they get ripe sooner than your conventional apples. They're not very sweet, but they're very refreshing. So there's not a high sugar content, but they do have a high water content. If you made apple juice out of it, it would probably not have a whole lot of sugar in it. I think that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to juice a lot of these beautiful August apples. And you have to pick them quickly, too. Look at this, the shoots of the tree. They're just shooting out, and now this tree that usually all the branches are really high are hanging low. So at the end of the harvesting season, I'm going to prune this tree down so that it's a little bit smaller, like this one over here. And I'm going to continue pruning that one as well. Now, if you look over here, these are, I'm not exactly sure what they're called, junipers or something like that. I'll have to check. I'll have to ask my wife later. But these things are beautiful. You can make either a gelée, sweetheart. What are these things called? This is Holunder. Okay, I'll have to look up the English word for it. But from this Holunder, they turn into these beautiful purple blue berries, and they're not like good for eating directly, but you can turn them into a kind of a jelly, you know? You can take the juice that you squeeze, and then you can put some pectin in there and make a lovely jelly, and it's just gorgeous. We don't do that yet, but who knows? As the lockdown continues, we're going to find more and more uses for our products here, let's say. All right. It's a lot of hay fever, lots of pollen in here. Sorry, I had a little sniffle there. It's not COVID-19, don't worry. Now, this is my plum tree, and the funny thing about the plum tree is that you never see the fruit until it ripens. So the English word for Holunder is elderberry, yeah? Oh, okay, so this Holunda, that tree over there that I showed you, is called elderberry. And the reason we don't do anything with the elderberries yet is because this tree planted itself somehow. We suddenly had this tree in there, and that happens a lot in our yard, that trees plant themselves. So the old saying that a person has to plant a tree in their lifetime and build a house and make a child, well, I'll tell you one thing. Most of those things, except for building the house, happen on their own. Now, look at this cherry tree. These are sour cherries, okay? They're amazing. They're not sweet cherries. We're used to sweet cherries in America, but Germany has a lot of sour cherries. Now, there is the sour cherry. We're gonna eat it. There are so many different notes in this symphony of flavor. from the sour cherry. Of course, the main one is bum 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 bum. I'm sour as hell. I'm sour as hell. I'm sour as hell. Sour as hell. I wish we were here to taste some of them because we can't get enough people to pick them. We've already had like 5 different families come over and pick, and they're still full. Look up there. Someone's got to climb this tree. Okay, now over here on this side is our lovely pear tree. You could start to see some of the pears growing there, and it competes a little bit with the cherry tree. Now look at these cherries that are hanging with the pears. It's like, hey, bro, what's happening? No, the cherries don't do well. I think the pear is putting out some kind of a chemical to say, like, get the hell out of here, cherries. They were planted too close together. I had nothing to do with that, but I probably would have made the same mistake. So I'm going to seriously prune back this pear tree. We're just getting so much fruit this year that I don't want to touch it. I'm just going to let it do its thing because the fruit is just amazing this year. So happy with that, right? Oh, look, there were some. These are really red and not really dark red. They're light red, so they're still ripening. You see, we're going to have, some of them are rotting already. You see that? They're getting like a mold. Some of them are just coming in, but the majority of them are just gorgeous and have no blemishes. I'm going to eat another one. Lovely. All right, so now over here, we've got a big compost heap. You could see that the wood at the bottom, the little pieces, is starting to decompose. So I'm going to have a really nice mulch out of that, right? I've been taking these pieces of wood and I've been chipping them. So now I have a bunch of wood chips, and that's also going to be a nice mulch. I just got to scoop that stuff up and put it around my raised beds. Now, here we go. I'm going to say a French word, the pièce de résistance, because it is a pumpkin patch full of French pumpkins. That's right. They have some French name like Von 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 Vous 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 or Jean Jean Von Von Vous, but I'm not really sure. But I have 2 pumpkin patches. Now look, this one, oh, look there, look at there. There's the first pumpkin of the year. I didn't tell you what time of year it is. It's the middle of July right now. So these pumpkins, I planted them probably 3 weeks ago. And they're going nuts. Now here's my artichokes, because I'm an artichoke fan. Matter of fact, I built this bed as a perennial garden. Yeah, I try, except for the peppers that I planted here and the one that I have in a pot. All these come back every year. Artichokes come back. This plant is black currants. It's a black currant plant, but this year it hasn't borne fruit. It's the first year, and I'm just going to be patient with it and see what happens, because black currants are really, really yummy. You can make drinks like Ribena and stuff like that. Here's a lovely artichoke. Now, this one next door, this beauty, look how beautiful the leaves are. This one I call Ronnie because this is the artichoke seed that I got from Ron Finley, the Gangster Gardener. And it's been sitting around for a year on my shelf. And this year I said, hey, let's plant that with the bean. So I planted the artichoke seed and the bean that Ron gave me, and they're both sprouting like crazy. Now over here we have some strawberries. I'm going to come around the side and show you these strawberries because they have little red flowers. Look at those flowers. So pretty. And the strawberries, they don't have like a normal color. Well, now they're getting, the first ones were like more like this, like almost a magenta. So it's a variety of strawberries I've never seen before. They're not quite ripe. Any ripe ones here? This one looks pretty ripe. Not 100%, but you want to know something? It's going to be yummy anyway. So I'm going to pull it off. And in front of you, I'm going to eat my strawberry that I grew. This is a transplant, by the way. I didn't grow it from a seed, the strawberries. I got the plant itself. That's nice. It's not like your conventional strawberry. It's got a lovely flavor. It's got a teeny little bit of a bitter note to it, along with the sweetness, which I really personally like very much. Now, here's one of my pepper plants. The pepper plants are also a cautionary tale. And the lesson you're supposed to learn from that is always mark your plants, which are which. I made 3 different varieties of peppers. I have like um, colorful bell peppers, and I have jalapenos, and I have others that are like mini green peppers that I got as a transplant. This one I grew from seed, like this. This I bought as a transplant. That's from seed. That's from Ron. That's a transplant. But I love these artichokes so much. I just love the shape, and I love the flavor. But these ones, you could see according, next to my hand, they're not big ones, The ones that we're used to eating are like that big. Yeah, as big as my hand. And then they have a big artichoke heart. So this year, I'm wondering what to do. That one over here is already opening up and turning into a flower. Basically, an artichoke is a flower. So this one is opening. I think if you want to eat it, they have to have these leaves tied together. So this year, I'm just going to let the artichokes grow. I'm not going to try to eat them. I'm going to let them try to go to seed, and they come back every year anyway. So, and here's my other pumpkin patch. This is the other French variety. These are giant pumpkins. These over here, sorry, I cough when I have hay fever. These over here are, they're called the red 100-pounders. They're roter Zentner, yeah? So they're going to be red, beautiful pumpkins. These are going to be beautiful, like beige-orange pumpkins. And over here, I almost forgot, I put these grapes in, this grape plant this year. And now we're getting some very nice growth here. You could really see it over the past week or so. The grapes are starting to get big. The plant is starting to get big. Now, what I want to do is I used an old clothesline, as you can see here, because we weren't hanging our clothes on the clothesline. It was just in the yard when we bought the house. And now I'm using it to train my grapes so that they can grow like in a vineyard. You can see I did it up here already. You have one going that way and one going that way. And I'm just going to let these others hang free. I'm not going to prune anything this year because it's the first year, and I'm not an expert about pruning grapes. So I'm just going to let them come in. There we go. There, it says it. Look at that. New York Muscat. Vitis vinifera. So on the price tag, it says that they're French, but here on the purple tag, it says New York Muscat. I tend to believe it's the New York variety, or maybe New York version of French grapes. Okay, so let's go into the other part of the garden over here. This is onto our right near the horse stables. No, I don't have horse. The stables came with the house. Okay, now we have a yucca plant here that has been invaded by canola. We have a lot of canola oil being grown in the area. Look at that. If I harvested these, if I could harvest those, then we would basically have some canola oil. Okay. I just don't have enough of it, but let's see what's inside. There, look at that. Those are and they are oily, right? These are the seeds that's used to make the canola oil. And you can see the beautiful yellow, my fingers are stained yellow now from the plant. Okay, very good. And the yucca plant's not doing too well, probably because I've neglected it. But I'm thinking of taking it out anyway. I'd like to be able to walk in here a lot easier. Okay, so down here, we've got the gooseberry bush. right? The others were elderberries. Now we have gooseberries. Now these you can just pick and eat right away. Here, there we go. A beautiful gooseberry. Oh, it's just such a delicate, lovely flavor. I can't even explain it. It's like an explosion of sweetness and freshness. Now we don't have the. I've never seen them in America. Maybe now they have the gooseberries in America because slowly but surely everything's everywhere. But these are typical European berries, and people wait for them all the time. Now, over here, we've got a rosehip bush. Okay. Now these little fruits here are called rosehips, and they turn bright red or bright orange actually. And if you wait till the season's over, they get kind of mushy, and you can like squeeze it and suck out the insides, which are kind of sweet. They make a beautiful tea, rose hips. So maybe this year, in the past, we've never really harvested them. But I think maybe this year we will harvest them. I always have to cut it back anyway. So maybe we'll harvest those rose hips and make a tea out of them. Now, I love this. This is my Mirabelle tree that I just planted this year. You could see Mirabelles. They're kind of little plum, I'm assuming French. Well, Nancy, there we go. Mirabelle Nancy. And Syriaca, so they're originally from Syria. But they're growing fantastically here. And they even have little fruits. Now, they're not very big. And the Mirabelles won't be very big. Maybe they'll get to be sort of a little bit chunkier than these. But I'm just happy that we have fruit on the trees this year because it's the first year. Now, let's go to my other raised bed. This is my old raised bed. And this is sort of the place where the snails like to come. And look at that zucchini leaf. It's been munched upon by something. That being said, things grow pretty well in here. Okay, this is a small aubergine, a small eggplant that I grew from a seed. So it's not as far as the one I have in the bed, of course. But let's see what happens there. And these zucchinis, lovely yellow zucchinis, got nothing to complain about. And I'm getting so many flowers, I'm considering some stuffed zucchini flowers. Now over here I've got a bucket of carrots that I learned how to make from some North England guy on a video. That was fun. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're not big now. I took out a couple of days ago and they were really small. Let's try one just for the video. Let's see what we have. Oh, they've gotten bigger. Not bad. This one I can actually munch on. So I'm gonna clean off the dirt. Probably not gonna eat this right now without cleaning it. Now over here, you see, this is also a cautionary tale. This is one of my oldest beds. And what I learned making this bed this year is you have to mulch. You can see the mulch on there now, but it didn't start that way. Now this stinging nettles, I've gotten pretty used to these suckers, so I'm just gonna rip them out. Come out. Come on, algebra, this is no place for you. There we go. So we got rid of that stinging nettles, but over there, it's just inundated with weeds. Yeah, so I'm gonna pull that all out because the grass and the stinging nettles and the other things that are growing are hampering the beets that are growing there anyway. So I'm gonna rip that out, clean out all those plants and put down mulch. And I did the same problem here, you see. I was growing lettuce, everything looked clean and lovely, but if you don't mulch, you're gonna get weeds. And if you don't wanna pick out weeds every day, well, they will eventually win, then you have to mulch. All right, so let's go over here. Here in the area where we have our barbecues and stuff. There's my barbecue right here, German style. That's right. My brother wants one. I'm gonna try to send him one from Germany. Okay, now over here I've got my tomatoes. I grew these from seeds, and these are my San Marzanos. And they're looking very good. They don't seem to have that disease where they get like a little brown weird bottom on it, you know. which is a lack of calcium. But look at these. I guess they have enough calcium. I'm thinking of chewing up a couple of Tums and spitting it into the water and then and then watering them with that just to make sure get them a little extra calcium. Some people say put eggshells, but the eggshells are also not immediately available. Oh, and you see, I've got a lot of pollinators in my yard, and they're busy, busy bees doing their job. So I say that I did all the work. No, this little guy does all the work. He makes sure that I have my tomatoes and my eggplant. Now this is a very small tomato plant. You can see next to all the others. This one has stayed small. And it has little yellow ones. This was a transplant. It's kind of a weird one, but you know what? Oh, look at that. That one just fell off. Oy, now I'm gonna munch this one right in front of you. All right, here we go. The yellow tomato. That's nice. And even though I didn't grow it from a seed, I'm proud. I'm glad I have this little squiggly tomato plant that's giving me yellow tomatoes. These are going to be tomato sauce tomatoes. The San Marzanos, look at that. How gorgeous can you get? I love it. Proud of them. This one is hanging on there. It's starting to get flowers itself. Oh, it's starting to get, and I noticed that when you grow for a while, weeds come in and they sort of fool you by twirling themselves around the plant that you have, and then you think that these are tomato blossoms, and then you realize, oh no, they're not. There's something else. Now, here is a transplant peppers. So I know these are the mini green peppers, but the other ones, we'll see what happens. Now this one is funny. Look at this. Look at this beautiful plant. I thought it was weeds, and I took it out of that bed over there that I showed you, and there was a walnut connected to it. This is a mini walnut tree. So I put it in a pot immediately. The roots looked like they were still intact, and now I'm going to grow a walnut tree because I love walnuts, and anywhere that they grow, underneath there, nothing grows. So I have a big field out there past those bushes and trees that is full of crabgrass. And it's really hard to deal with. So I'm just going to plant the big walnut tree out there. And then, the big walnut tree, there we go. And then I won't even see my neighbor's house anymore. How lovely. Now, over here, we've got some more San Marzanos. Look at that. Oh, my God. These don't look like San Marzanos. They're more round, but let's see what happens. They were in the San Marzano package, as were these. All right, there's another mystery pepper. We'll see what happens. Now here I've got some zucchinis growing in a bucket. They're not doing as well, but they have a funny, it looks like they've been beaten up. You can see they have all these crisscrosses, but I did nothing to these. These are crisscrossing all by themselves. And the fact of the matter is, they taste yummy. So I don't care if they look a little squidgy. Now, we're getting close to the end of our tour. Now, one thing I did was I started investing in doing some flowers. Plants and vegetables are great, but a little bit of flower just gives the garden a certain pop. Now, down here we've got some oregano, but here with the oregano are some other weeds growing. And oregano is like a funny plant. Sometimes I think parts of the oregano look different than the other parts, and you really can't tell. You think there's a weed in there, but there isn't. Hard to say. Now, these over here, these are Thai basil. Look how beautiful. Now, I'm going to pick a leaf of this. Thai basil is amazing. It doesn't taste like our basil. When I say our, I mean like Italian basil. It's got a very licoricey kind of flavor. It tastes just like licorice. It's amazing. So I can imagine that in a lot of different dishes to give it sort of a little bit of a different kind of note. Now, these, speaking of different kind of note, this is Vietnamese coriander. Look how beautiful. You can see the pollinators in the background just doing their job. But these leaves, oh my God, this has a special flavor to it. Oh, it's just so fresh and lovely. Okay, it's not the thing I want to chew forever. It's not a salad leaf. It's really a spice. But wow, if you put like a few of these in with some rice and some vegetables, then you have a lovely Asian dish. I love it. Now this one over here I didn't show you yet. This is my blueberry bush. It doesn't have such a great form at the moment. It's a new from this year. But you see there we've got a blueberry. I'm going to pick it and eat it. There are not a lot this year, so I'm just eating them as I find them. Very nice. Oh, here's another one. I'm going for it. I'm not saving it for my wife. It's for me. Very good. So, as you can see, start growing. Here we've gotten these are grapes that have been here all year. Have been here for quite a few years now. They're starting to come in. They're looking very pale. I don't know why. This is a bucket of potatoes. They're almost done. You see when the leaves turn yellow and brown and crunchy? That's basically a sign that the potatoes are done. Yeah, the plant signals by dying that you can pick the potatoes. Okay, and I've got some strawberries back there. Here I've got like wild strawberries. Here it's I just like look and see every once in a while. They're kind of done this year. I've been eating a lot of strawberries. Here are some wild strawberries. And yeah, they're kind of done. Just the domestic ones that I put in the other bed started late, so they're coming in now. Okay, I'm going to end on this little rose bush here, which gave us a lot of roses this year. I'm going to prune this back. Everything's just growing this year like crazy. It's a vegetative year. It's a vegetative year for me too, but in a different way. Actually, I'm very, very active, and I'm really happy that I'm eating this fresh food. I'm burping now because of the fresh food. Like the Swiss char, for example, is very high in fiber. And we just did a report at Deutsche Welle, the TV station that I work at. I was lucky enough to voice the piece that, we need roughage in our diets. We need dietary fiber. And if you eat dietary fiber in your diet, it lowers your blood pressure. Doctors in Germany are prescribing a high roughage diet to lower blood pressure, and it's working. So the food you're eating is also your medicine, right? It's not just giving you nutrition, it's healing you. So I don't care if you have a balcony or a little backyard. You could, just like I did for a lot of things over here, just put them in a couple of pots. Right? You can grow a zucchini. It won't grow as big as it does in the raised bed, but you'll get beautiful vegetables from there, and you'll get it for a long time. Right? So now that my garden is just sort of cruising, I'm thinking about the things that I'm going to grow now. Right? I'm thinking of some kale, thinking of some broccoli, things you could plant in July, so that they're ready in October or November, right? Okay, so this was Expat Knuckleheads, the garden variety. I said I wasn't going to eat the carrot, but I'm going to end the video on the carrot, okay? Here we go. Here you go, baby. I took a lot of effort growing you. Now I'm going to eat you. I'm even eating the dirt, and I don't care. It tastes so good. Actually, I've wiped away the dirt during the whole video since I picked it. Grow your own food. It's so much easier. I made a ton of mistakes this year. I've showed you the mistakes, and even in spite of the mistakes, everything's growing. So Take advantage of the lockdown. Go out there, start planting. It's a bad time of year to tell you, but you could start doing kale right now. All right, so this is... I'm swallowing the wrong way with this carrot, trying to talk at the same time. So this is Jonathan Failla, Expat Knuckleheads. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, stay safe, and grow stuff. It's amazing. Bye.